Welcome. Hello, everybody. Today. Oh wait, hold on. That's me. I'm Tequila Dragon. I'm playing Pillars of Eternity. I've been wanting to play this game for a very long time. Um, Found out there was turn-based, and was like, yeah, I'm just gonna wait for that. Didn't realize it came out. Turn-based came out a month ago. A little longer than that, but here we are. I do have a text to speech mod. I'm not big into reading on stream. I get tongue tied and stuff, so it'll read. It sounds pretty natural. I tested it. Supposedly, companions, if they have a voice, which most companions do, I would assume, but they don't have a voice on certain lines, their voice is supposed to be cloned by this mod. Um, yeah. So, without further ado, here is Pillars of Eternity. Mic test, good. All right, new game. Normal, turn-based, accept. One thing I will say, I realized after playing Rogue Trader, Baldur's Gate 3, Pathfinder, Kingmaker with turn-based mode on, CRPGs need turn-based. I'm sorry. I'd love to go back and play some of the ones I missed growing up, but that I bought but never played. But they got to do this. That's all.
5 wagons grope blindly for the path on a starless night, their master glancing ever upward to the skies for assurance that he is on the right course. A dim lantern his only protection against the encroaching darkness. But the skies bring no comfort, shining no light, betraying no hint of what they know. The caravan carries travelers bound for the frontier hamlet of Gilded Vale, you among them, where a local lord has offered land and wealth to settlers from abroad looking for a fresh start. You have taken suddenly ill, sweating and shivering, and one of the other travelers signals for the caravan master to stop on your behalf. He pulls up just in time to avoid plowing into the trunk of a fallen tree that bars the way ahead. You will go no further tonight.
All right, so that's our beginning. I'm sick, and there's a tree in our way, so we can't go any further. Done. Character creation. Here is our first bit of talking to test it. Tell me what you guys think, but hold on one second, please.
A woman's role in Eora is largely dependent on where she is from. In the Eter Empire, Valian republics, and the Durwood, women occupy many domestic, educational, and organizational roles. They are the primary hunters, soldiers, and leaders of the tribes of Nacetak. In Air Glanfath and Examidal, women and men have more fluid social roles. In all societies, there are exceptions to the rule, and women can be found in a wide variety of stations and professions.
You know what I think is funny and I really like about this game so far? You know, you play any other game, it's like men and women are the same in this world. This is like, nah, man. They actually have roles depending on their gender, but they can break their gender. Like their roles and stuff, which is cool. But it does say there's actually gender roles in this society. And I'm not saying, you know, I believe 100% in gender roles or something. But it's just cool that the description doesn't say men and women are the same. It doesn't matter what you pick. They have different backgrounds, which I think is really, really cool.
The place of men in society varies from culture to culture. Cultures like Eter and the Durwood place them at the forefront of military, politics, and heavy labor. Among the tribes of Nacetak, men perform many of the homesteading and organizational duties. In Air Glanfath and Examital, men and women have more fluid social roles. In all societies, there are exceptions to the rule, and men can be found in a wide variety of stations and professions.
Alright, cool. Cool. I'm gonna be a female. No, I'm gonna be a male. I'm gonna be a male. But let's click on this first.
A colonial nation founded by settlers from the Eter Empire. Following a series of conflicts with Eter, the territory became independent in 2672 AI, and is now ruled by a Duke, who is elected by 7 earls that oversee its earldoms.
That's the dire word, and this is Ear Glanfath.
A territory comprised of the forest southeast of the Bale River, populated indigenously by a group of loosely affiliated tribes collectively known as Glanfathans, and governed by a council of its 6 most powerful tribes. Air Glanfath is home to a large number of ruined Ingwathan sites, which Glanfathans hold sacred. The ruins have been at the center of a number of large-scale conflicts with Derwoodan colonists, whose settlements often encroach on Glanfathan territory and who frequently seek to plunder the ruins for their relics.
We did what's the Valian Republics?
A mercantile power and former colony of a larger, more ancient nation, Old Valia. The republics lie to the south of Derwood and Air Glanfath, and are ruled by a Duke elected by the Conswagli Asigia, a council of 14 Ducks, including its 5 most prominent, the Ducks Bells.
Oops.
A mercantile power and former colony of a larger, more ancient nation, Old.
Alright, so yep, male. We clicked on all of these, so we know what those are. Let's see.
Humans, commonly called folk, are the most common race in the Derwood, the Eter Empire, Old Valia, and the Valian Republics. Though not as large as the towering Amawa, humans are known for their strength and willpower.
Alright, so
Humans, commonly called folk, are the most common race in the Derwood, the Eter Empire, Old.
Okay.
Resolve reflects a character's internal drive, determination, fearlessness, and the emotional intensity they can project to others. It can be useful for mental intimidation, leadership, and convincing performances. In combat, it helps characters maintain concentration and contributes to the will and deflection defenses.
That's cool.
Resolve reflects a character's internal drive, determination, fearlessness, and the emotional intensity.
I don't know why it's reading twice all of a sudden. Okay, and then might.
Might represents a character's physical and spiritual strength, brute force as well as their ability to channel powerful magic. During interactions, it can be useful for intimidating displays and acts of brute force. In combat, it contributes to both damage and healing as well as the fortitude defense.
Cool. Well, they're humans. Amawa. These guys look cool. What are they?
The mighty Amawa are the largest of the Kith races and are commonly found in or near oceans. Though not truly aquatic, they have an affinity for water, and many of their civilizations, such as Rauatai, are based on naval dominance. They are known for their unparalleled strength.
Oh, and humans got +1 to resolve and +1 to might. The Amawa have +2 to might. We already read what might does. Dwarf.
By virtue of land covered and number of colonies settled, dwarves are the most well-traveled race in the world. They are commonly found in the Derwood, the Valian Republics, and almost any colonized land. Dwarves are known for their great strength and tenacity.
They get +2 to might. We already read that. We didn't read dexterity yet, which they get -1.
Dexterity is an abstraction of a character's hand-eye coordination, balance, and overall grace. In interactions, it can be used for sleight of hand and fast reactions. In combat, it affects the character's action speed with all attacks, spells, and abilities and contributes to the reflex defense.
You won't be a very good thief. So, excuse me, +1 to con.
Constitution is a combination of the character's overall health and stamina. Although it is not used much in interactions, it is sometimes checked to withstand pain or endure a physically taxing ordeal. In combat, it affects maximum health and endurance and contributes to the fortitude defense.
Huh. Might be a dwarf monk. No, I don't want to be a monk this time, but we'll see. Did we read Erglafin? I don't think so.
Elves are the dominant race in Air Glanfath and the White that Wends and are extremely common in the Durwood and Etter. Elves are known for their speed and intelligence as well as a commonly isolationist nature.
Alright, what does perception do? These guys get +1/+1 to dexterity and perception.
Perception represents a character's senses as well as their instinctive ability to pick up on details. In interactions, it can be used to catch someone in a lie, to make an observant comment about their appearance, or to notice something happening in the background. In combat, it contributes to accuracy, the reflex defense, and grants a bonus to interrupt.
Oh, that's cool. Interrupt is cool. You can make them skip their turn on turn-based.
Orlons are the smallest of the Kith races, though many cultures don't consider them to be civilized at all. Also notable for their large ears, two-toned skin, and hirsute bodies, Orlons are commonly found in Air Glanfath, the Examital Plains, and parts of the Durwood. They are known for their mental intensity and sharp senses.
Alright, +1 to resolve. -1 to might. And +2 to perception. And godlike.
The godlike are children of the Kith, civilized races, who have been blessed with physical aspects associated with the gods, though some do not consider it a blessing. These aspects may take many forms and often come with mystical powers. Aberrant head shapes are typical, and godlike are unable to wear protective headgear as it is near impossible to find anything that fits. Because of their unusual nature and their inability to reproduce, godlike are often viewed with fear and wonder.
You got +1 to dex. Oh, and intellect, +1. We didn't see what intellect does yet.
Intellect represents a character's logic and reasoning capabilities. In interactions, it can be useful for deduction, sudden realizations, and problem solving. In combat, it contributes to the will defense and influences durations and areas of effect for all abilities and talents.
Yo, Nico in the house. Alright, I want to, we're just gonna pick a random race for now. Because I want to go over the classes, and then I'll come back and pick a race. No, you know what? We're not gonna min-max this. We're on normal, we're gonna have fun. We're gonna make a character that I want to play. What does perception do again? Concentration and continuity of the will. I don't know. We'll just. I want to be an Orlin. They look cool. And they get the resolve +1, the might -1, and the perception +2. Godlike might be fun. Damn, you know what? We are going to go to class next. and just pick what I want. All right, so
Brutes. Madmen.
barbarians.
Berserkers. Though city-dwelling people often use the term barbarian with a dose of disrespect, these rural warriors are respected by their communities for their ferocity and fearsome presence on the battlefield. Barbarians have a special, almost religious role in some cultures, but in many places, the undisciplined, fearless style of the barbarian is simply how warriors conduct themselves. Starting ability. Carnage. When barbarians hit with melee attacks, they automatically make reduced damage attacks at all other enemies within a short distance of the target.
Cool. What is hit? Just want to know what a hit is.
A hit is any attack roll that is between and. When an attack scores a hit, it does standard damage and has a standard duration. There are 8 damage types in Pillars of Eternity: slash, pierce, crush, burn, shock, corrode, freeze, and raw. Damage types are used to determine how easily a target resists damage of that type based on their damage reductions. A creature or suit of armor may be very resistant to one type of damage but quite vulnerable to another. Some weapons or attacks may do multiple damage types or list an or between their damage types. When an or is listed, the attack will always do the damage type that the target is most vulnerable to. Raw damage is the only damage type that ignores all damage reductions and is generally associated with poisons and similar effects.
Alright, cool. A barbarian sounds pretty cool. That's on the list. I don't know if if my buddy here who just signed in, who is away, yo. Let me ask you a quick question, because I was just going to mention you. Do you want me to go through every single class, or only classes I'm thinking about? Because, like, I don't want to be a healer, so I'm not going to be a priest. I don't want to be any type of magic, so I'm not going to be a wizard. I want to be melee based. So do you want me to go through just every single character, or every single class, or do you want to just hear the ones that I'm interested in? And they, okay. Alright, athletics +2.
Adventuring is tiring work. In addition to the hazards of mortal combat, adventurers have walls to climb, rivers to cross, and pits to leap over. Once per encounter, characters with athletics can use the second wind ability to recover lost endurance. A higher athletics score increases the effect of second wind. In conversations and scripted interactions, athletics is used for physical feats like climbing, swimming, and jumping.
Alright. And then survival is +1. This is actually a cool little ability.
Survival allows characters to choose from a variety of long-term bonuses each time they camp. The first 6 ranks grant the following bonuses. 1. Damage reduction. 2. Received healing multiplier. 3. Bonus movement. 4. Accuracy bonus versus creature type. 5. Increased consumable duration. 6. Bonus damage versus flanked enemies. After the 6th rank, the previously earned bonuses become more powerful in the same order they were received. Survival can also be used in conversations and scripted interactions that involve wilderness challenges or specialized information about nature.
Cool.
Survival allows characters to choose from a variety.
Alright, let's go into endurance. So these are, like, everybody has this endurance, health, accuracy, and deflection. See? Endurance, health, accuracy, deflection. But, alright, so let's just read what endurance does.
Endurance represents a character's short-term survivability. Damage that is not absorbed by a character's damage reduction goes straight to their endurance and health. Potions and healing magic, such as from a paladin, priest, or druid, can restore endurance in combat. When a character's endurance reaches 0, he or she will be knocked out. A knocked out character can be brought back in combat through the use of a revive ability. Otherwise, characters will regain all of their endurance at the end of combat, assuming they're on the winning side.
Okay, so there's two types of HPs. There's endurance, which, as we just read, comes back after the fight. And then there's like health. If health reaches 0, you're dead. If endurance hits 0, you're just knocked out. We'll get more into that a little later when I show you. But he has a 48 plus 16 divided by his level, which is a very high endurance.
Health is long-term damage, only regained through rest and certain talents. Damage that is not absorbed by a character's damage reduction goes straight to their health and endurance. When a character's health reaches 0, they will either be maimed or killed, depending on game settings. A maimed character who is reduced to 0 health will always be killed, regardless of settings. Unlike endurance, a character's health does not get restored after combat, but characters have much larger health values than endurance values.
And yeah, kind of like shields. I do have maimed on, so they'll get up once from health hitting 0. The second time their health hits 0, no matter what through the playthrough, they're dead. I do have that option on. And then so they have 6 times their endurance level. So 6 times whatever this number is going to come out to be. Did we do accuracy yet? I don't think so.
Accuracy is part of almost every attack. It influences how likely the attack is to affect the target. Accuracy is defined primarily by a character's class and level, but it is also influenced by perception, talents, and other active effects, such as spells or items. When an attack is made, the accuracy is compared to the appropriate defense on a target to determine how the attack roll will be modified. If accuracy is above the target's defense, it will be more likely to result in a hit or crit, less likely to result in a graze or miss. Any ability or talent that does not use a weapon as part of the attack gains a small accuracy bonus based on the level of the character.
And then deflection, they have a low deflection rate.
Deflection is the defense used to resist direct melee and ranged attacks against the character that are not area of effect, AoE. It is defined by the character's class, level, and resolve, but may also be influenced by shields, certain weapons, talents, and other effects from spells or items.
Alright, so that's a barbarian in a nutshell. As we go along, this will go a lot quicker. Like, I'm not going to read hit every time, I'm not going to read damage every time, I'm not going to read this endurance, health, accuracy, deflection part every time. Just the, this part. The, description.
In every culture across Eora, there are chanters. Many historians consider chanters to be the most ancient workers of magic, their hallowed phrases stirring the collective memory of wayward souls around them, compelling them to generate magical effects in a kind of reenactment. In some societies, chanters form organized groups of storytellers and researchers, but in most parts of the world they are just a time-honored part of local folk traditions. Starting abilities. Phrases/chants. All chanters can continuously speak chants made up of magical phrases. Phrases produce passive effects and help build a chanter's power until they can use an invocation. Invocations. Powerful magical effects that chanters can create after they have spoken a required number of phrases through their chants.
Pretty neat. That sounds like a cool way to do magic. And this guy has lore +2 and mechanics +1.
Lore represents a character's accumulated miscellaneous knowledge and trivia, often of occult or esoteric topics. Outside of conversations and scripted interactions, lore is used to activate scrolls. Higher lore values allow the character to use higher level scrolls.
So the base attributes, we'll get into those in a minute, are not a one-to-one comparison to rules like D&D or Pathfinder, whatever you may know. This game system is entirely built by the devs and stuff, the Obsidian, whatever. And they get +1 to mechanics.
Traps and locks can be a problem for even the toughest adventurers, draining their resources and maiming or killing those who are unfortunate enough to trigger an unseen floor plate. The mechanics skill makes it easier to open locks and find and disable traps. Additionally, any character can use the mechanics skill to place traps of their own. The higher the mechanics skill, the more accurate the trap. In conversations and scripted interactions, mechanics can be used to activate or disable a variety of machines.
So based on the lore and the mechanics and like their starting abilities, the chanter sounds like a mix between a rogue and like a mage, which is pretty neat.
A recent discovery in the Eastern Reach, ciphers were once called Brishelgwyn, mind hunters, by the Glanthithans. Ciphers have the ability to directly contact and manipulate another person's soul and psyche, using an ally's or enemy's essence as the focus for their magic. Though most ciphers are still found in the Eastern Reach, practitioners of the techniques have spread throughout the known world. They are gaining acceptance over time, but are generally distrusted, especially by the uneducated. Starting ability. Powers. Ciphers can directly target allies and enemies with powerful soul-focused effects. These powers cost focus, which ciphers build through the use of their soul whip.
Pretty neat. I don't know what a soul whip is, but I guess they use their soul whip, and that's how they get their MP or uses of their abilities. While you're here, how does this AI sound? I think it sounds 8 out of 10 towards natural. Pretty good. Oh, sorry. Let's go back to Chanter real quick. Their endurance is very low. Their health is low. Their accuracy is average, and their deflection is high. So they are definitely like clothies, I guess. In my starting guess. And back to the cipher.
Stealth allows characters of any class to attempt to avoid being seen or heard. It is used automatically whenever the character is in scouting mode. The higher the character's skill, the closer they can get to enemies before being detected.
We already did lore, and we already did mechanics. So Cypher definitely has some like rogue style abilities. They have very low endurance, low health, average accuracy, and average deflection. And Druid.
Animists at heart, Druids tap into the spiritual power that flows through the simple living things of Eora, plants, animals, and sometimes even living stone. While not necessarily religious, Druids do have a reverence for the natural world and a keen interest in understanding its mysteries. In most cultures, Druids are understood as a sort of primal magician, but among the Glanthithans, Nasataki, and many rural cultures, they may have high positions of influence and authority. Starting abilities. Spirit Shift. All Druids have mastered one animalistic form. These forms give the Druid strong melee abilities and grant an additional power while the Druid is shifted. Spells. Druids have access to a variety of offensive and some support-oriented spells. Every 2 levels, Druids automatically gain access to an additional set of spells. Initially, their spells can be cast a limited number of times per rest. As Druids gain power, their weaker spells eventually shift to per encounter use.
That's really cool. You know, D&D, you can only use your spells per rest, per long rest, I think. I don't remember exactly. I think it is long rest. But as you get stronger in this, so like the level 1 spells, you could only use say 4 times at level 4 or whatever it is. Here, let's say you're at level 4, you can use your spells 4 times, In the next encounter, use it 4 more times. In the next encounter, use it 4 more times. That's really cool. All right, lore +1, survival +2, and they have very low endurance, low health, very low accuracy, and deflection is 20. Yeah. Nico says wizards have an ability to regain spell slots after a short rest, but otherwise it's long rest. I should know that. I just brain farted. I'm really excited to get into this system. Boo, fighter.
Fighters form the front line of disciplined armies across the Eastern Reach. Though they are most commonly found in cultures with an organized martial structure, fighters can also be encountered as wandering mercenaries, bodyguards, and other types of sellswords. The common element that unifies fighters is their heavy focus on endurance and melee defense. Starting ability. Constant recovery. Fighters continually regenerate endurance at a modest rate during combat.
Passive regeneration? That's awesome. Alright, maybe fighters aren't a boo. Athletics +1, lore +1, survival +1. They have average endurance, high health, very high accuracy, and very high deflection. So they can, in a fight, they have slight. Oh yeah, I'm a sucker for heal over time too, but it's only in combat. Once you're out of combat, they stop healing, but they get to 100% anyways at that point. But so they have a slight disadvantage, average advantage in endurance, but their health, the one that's like they'll die if they get to 0. That's high. So that's cool, and they hit hard, and they can take a punch. I played a monk on the prologue yesterday, just setting up some settings, make sure everything works. I played the prologue with the monk. I'll admit that right now, but here we go. Let's read about the monk.
Monks belong to a variety of fighting orders that have sprung up in Examidal and the Eastern Reach over the past few centuries. While many monastic orders can trace their teachings to the enduring founder, Tletak, individual organizations vary greatly in their focus, morality, and ethics. Common folk respect the incredible discipline of monks but see them as an odd, unpredictable bunch who may not be entirely sane. Even mercenaries and other adventurers aren't sure what to make of them. Starting ability. Transcendent suffering. When monks have no weapons equipped, their unarmed attacks are exceptionally powerful and continue to increase in damage as they gain levels. Wounds. As monks are damaged, their pain generates wounds. Wounds can be used to power many of the monk's special abilities.
They have +1 to stealth, +1 to athletics, +1 to survival. They have average endurance, like the fighter. They have very high health, very high accuracy, so they hit, and they can take a punch too. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
The masters of academic magic, wizards are students of arcane traditions that stretch back beyond the boundaries of recorded history. Wizards are a highly organized group, often forming academies or guilds devoted to research and development in magical studies, and tend to favor environments where inquiry, experimentation, debate, and the dissemination of knowledge are encouraged. Many accomplished wizards eventually become known for their eccentricity, their egos, and their unquenchable interest in all things arcane and occult. Starting abilities. Arcane Assault, mid-range attack that hits a small area for raw damage and can leave targets dazed. Spells, wizards have access to a variety of offensive and personal defense spells. Unlike priests and druids, wizards learn individual spells that they store in and cast directly from their grimoires. Grimoires can only hold 4 spells of each spell level, which motivates wizards to keep multiple grimoires for different needs. Every 2 levels, wizards gain access to an additional set of spells. However, they can automatically learn 1 spell of any level they can access each time they advance. Wizards also have the option of learning spells from grimoires they find or buy. Initially, their spells can be cast a limited number of times per rest. As wizards gain power, their weaker spells eventually shift to per encounter use.
Dude, I love that ability. That is so cool. Dungeon Master, we need to make that a thing. Alright, so I'm going to read what raw damage is. That's new.
There are 8 damage types in Pillars of Eternity: Slash, Pierce, Crush, Burn, Shock, Corrode, Freeze, and Raw.
It's just going to read that all over again. So they have very low endurance, low health, obviously. They won't hit you, and they cannot take a punch. And they get +2 to lore and +1 to mechanics. I know. You give us a lot of long rest. You're a good DM. It's just a cool ability. A cool change to the rules.
Rogues are vicious killers, feared for the brutality of their attacks. They can be found as often in dark back alleys as the heart of battlefield skirmishes. Though unpredictable and undisciplined, rogues are commonly used as shock troops or as part of a surprise assault, their withering attacks breaking enemy ranks and morale. Rogues tend to congregate in larger numbers in cities where they can be steadily employed as mercenaries or hired muscle. Starting ability. Sneak Attack applies bonus damage to the rogue's ranged and melee weapon attacks when the target has any of the following afflictions: blinded, flanked, hobbled, paralyzed, petrified, prone, stuck, stunned, or weakened. It also applies to any target the rogue strikes with a weapon within the first 2 seconds of combat.
Unfortunately, I don't know how seconds equate to turns in turn-based mode, which we are playing. But, alright, so can I read these? The afflictions?
Afflictions are explicitly bundled sets of status effects that can be applied to, suspended, or fully removed from a character. While some afflictions have explicit overriding or exclusivity rules, most afflictions can coexist with other afflictions. When a spell is cast on a target, it and its subordinate effects and afflictions are all bundled together in a procedurally bundled container created by the spell. If these procedurally bundled containers are applied while an identical version is in effect, e.g. blessing cast on someone already under the effect of a blessing, the new version replaces the old. No matter how many effects are on the target, generally only the best bonuses and the worst penalties are applied. Some creatures can be immune to 1 or more afflictions. If so, these afflictions cannot be applied to those creatures.
I don't know what you're WTFing.
Accuracy is reduced by 25 for all sources. Perception is reduced by 4. Movement is reduced by 2. Reflex and deflection are reduced by 20.
That's what happens if you're blinded. If you're flanked.
Deflection is reduced by 10.
If you're hobbled.
Hobbled characters have their dexterity reduced by 2, movement by 1.5, and reflex by 20.
Paralyzed.
A paralyzed target can't take any action. Their dexterity is set to 0 and their reflex and deflection are reduced by 40. Override stunned, stuck, and prone.
Petrified.
A petrified character's soul temporarily transforms their body into a mobile, brittle stone. They suffer the same effects as being paralyzed, but attacks do greatly increased damage. Overrides paralyzed, stunned, stuck, and prone.
That's cool.
Prone characters can't take action. Dexterity is reduced by 2. Reflex and deflection are reduced by 10.
I'm pretty sure getting up from prone doesn't take an action. Yeah, most times you're petrified. You're like a statue.
Stuck characters are rooted, able to act but unable to leave their current location. Dexterity is reduced by 2. Accuracy is reduced by 5 for all sources. Reflex and deflection are reduced by 20.
Oh, so one thing that's cool about this, I don't know if we got into it yet, but we will. Brain fart. Oh yeah, there's 4 type of, armor classes. There's 4 different types of armor classes.
Stealth allows characters of any class to attempt to avoid.
Alright, stunned. Do we do stunned? I don't know.
Stunned characters can't take any action. Dexterity, perception, and intellect are all reduced by 4. Reflex and deflection are reduced by 30. Override stuck and prone. Weakened characters have their might and constitution reduced by 2. Movement is reduced by 1. Fortitude and will are reduced by 20.
Cool. They get +1 to stealth, +2 to mechanics, very low endurance, low health, very high accuracy, but low deflection. Almost there. 1, 2, 3 more.
Rangers are warriors of the woodlands and masters of the hunt. Always partnered with soul-bonded animal companions, they can be found in wild spaces all over the world. As their lifestyles often tend toward independence and isolation, it is rare for rangers to become an integral part of a large fighting force, though they are often employed as scouts and guides. Starting ability. Animal companion. All rangers share a strong bond with an animal companion. The companion fights at the ranger's command and is extremely valuable for its ability to run interference. Animal companions don't do much damage, but they have high damage reduction. The link between the ranger and companion is powerful. If one goes down in battle, the other suffers as well.
Oh, so don't lose your pet. That's cool.
When an attack hits, there is one primary means of mitigating damage: damage reduction. Damage reduction value is usually derived from armor, but many creatures have natural DR or can raise it through the use of magic, abilities, talents, or other equipment. Damage reduction is subtracted directly from all incoming damage. E.g., an attack that initially does 20 damage to a target with 7 DR would be reduced to 13. Damage will never be reduced below 20% of the initial incoming amount. When this minimum value is hit, you will see a MIN message in the combat log on the attack line. Note that many suits of armor and many creatures will grant different damage reduction values against the different damage types. Lower DRs protect against less damage, making the target more vulnerable to attacks of that type.
Stealth 1, survival 2, very low endurance, very high health, very high accuracy, and average deflection. I think it might be a paladin when I get to it. Priests.
Priests are devotees of Eora's deities and practitioners of religious magic. While all priests dedicate themselves to specific gods, priests' power is actually derived from their personal beliefs. In contrast to most paladins, priests tend to focus on philosophy, teaching, and the relationship of religious organizations with common folk. The reception of priests in any given part of the world depends largely on how their god is revered, or reviled, by the people who live there. Starting abilities. Holy Radiance generates a modest amount of endurance for allies around the priest. Any enemy vessels caught in the area take burn damage and may be frightened. Over the course of the game, the power of this ability may shift based on the reputations the priest gains relative to the behaviors that are preferred by his or her deity. Spells.
Cool.
Priests have access to a variety of support and some offense-oriented spells. Every 2 levels, priests automatically gain access to an additional set of spells. Initially, their spells can be cast a limited number of times per rest. As priests gain power, their weaker spells eventually shift to per-encounter use.
Athletics 1, lore 1, very low endurance, low health, very low accuracy, and low deflection. They are not combat based at all. And the paladin. I'm actually not going to be a paladin or a priest. I don't want to be limited by my deity.
Paladins are martial zealots, devoted to a god, a ruler, or even a way of life. They can be found in any culture where a fanatical group of like-minded individuals have formed a warrior society dedicated to advancing their cause. Among those aligned to their worldview, paladins are viewed with respect and admiration, if a bit of fear. Many paladins hold leadership positions in armies and mercenary companies, but in the heat of battle their fanaticism often overrules the chain of command and common sense. Starting ability. Faith and conviction. Paladins have an inherent bonus to all of their defenses. Over the course of the game, the value of this bonus may shift based on the reputations the paladin gains relative to the behaviors that are preferred by his or her order.
Cool. Plus 2 to athletics, plus 1 to lore, average endurance, high health, average accuracy, and average deflection. I think I'm going to be a barbarian. One long sentence. No, I want to be a rogue. I want to be a rogue. That seems cool. I don't know if I'm going to get a good rogue in the game. I don't care. Maybe not. Did the monk. I liked the monk a little bit. I'm going to go barbarian. We want to be an Mua barbarian. All right, so we're going to go. Oh, yeah, so every race has sub races. Oh, we're not going to read all these. We're not going to go through that. Shut up, Navi. Oh, from Avatar. Haha. Towering physique. Coastal Amur gain bonuses to defend against prone and stun. An island. Armed to the teeth. All island Amur gain an additional weapon set. That might be cool for a barbarian. Yeah, we're gonna do that. Island Amur. It'll be the one I'm picking.
Island Amawa originated in the Deadfire Archipelago 1,000 miles south of the Valian Republics. While physiologically similar to their coastal cousins, the coloration of Island Amawa is starkly different, brown and yellow, contrasting the coastal's blue and green. Though still uncommon in the Durwood and surrounding environments, Island Amawa are more commonly encountered there than coastal Amawa, who are quite rare. When encountered around the Durwood, they are often laborers, fishermen, or sailors. Armed to the teeth, all Island Amawa gain an additional weapon set.
Alright, well, after this I'm gonna kill the stream, start a new one, and you can watch on the second VOD that will be starting the actual campaign. Hale and hardy. Mountain dwarves have a bonus to defend against poison and disease attacks. Hunter's instincts for the boreal dwarf. Boreal dwarfs gain 15 accuracy against any creature of the wilder or primordial types. Meh. No beard? Really? You're not a dwarf. What kind of dwarf are you? I think I'm gonna make you a thief. An Orlin thief. minor threat. When attacking any target that is also being targeted by a teammate, Hearth Erlins convert some of their hits into crits. That's cool. Wild Erlin. Defiant Resolve. After being subjected to a will attack, Wild Erlins temporarily gain a bonus to all defenses. That's cool. But we want the crits. So we're going to go Hearth Erlin as a rogue.
The rogue attacks his or her enemy's ability to move around effectively, inflicting extra damage to and hobbling any enemy successfully hit.
Cool. +2. You can use them 2 times per encounter. Standard action type. Standard initiative.
In turn-based mode, initiative is used to determine who will act first in the turn order. Characters with lower initiative values will act before other characters and will complete spell casts faster.
Average initiative. I wish you were faster. Doesn't make sense to me.
Interrupt determines how likely a damaging attack is to delay their opponent's current or next action. The roll uses an interrupt value from the attacker, derived from perception, that is then compared to the target's concentration, derived from resolve. A 1 to 100 roll is made, adding the interrupt. If the result is higher than the concentration, the target plays a hit reaction and their current action is delayed. The duration of the delay is determined by the interrupt strength listed on the weapon or attack. An interrupt applied to a character already suffering from an interrupt with a longer duration will have no effect.
Cool. Hobbled, accuracy versus fortitude. I'm just going to read this. Fortitude resists attacks on the internal physical systems of the character, poison, disease, etc. It is defined by the character's class level might con, but can also be influenced by other effects.
There are 8 damage types in Pillars of Eternity: slash, pierce, crush, burn.
And then blinding strike. A dirty attack that makes the opponent unable to see, inflicts extra damage and blinds the target. I think I'm gonna go with blinding strike. That seems cool. Oh, I can only use blinding strike once per encounter. Does it do extra damage? Why can I use tripling strike twice and blinding strike once? Probably because it's better? Is it better? I'm gonna go blinding strike. Might.
Might represents a character's physical and spiritual strength, brute force, as well as their ability to channel powerful magic. During interactions, it can be useful for intimidating displays and acts of brute force. In combat, it contributes to both damage and healing as well as the fortitude defense. Highly recommended for rogue.
I lose a point here because I'm an Orlin. That kind of sucks, but I was able to get it to 17. I can still get that to 18 if I so choose. Which I will choose.
Constitution is a combination of the character's overall health and stamina. Although it is not used much in interactions, it is sometimes checked to withstand pain or endure a physically
Alright. I'm out of points. Dump status con. What is resolve? Oh, you get a point for being an Orlan. So let's do this. Uh, I raise that. And this is my culture.
The Eter Empire is currently the largest and most powerful force in this part of the world. It is centered around the equator and has a tropical climate. Though the empire has colonies in numerous areas of the world, Greater Eter is at its heart and houses the majority of its human and elven nations.
We have +1 to resolve. That'll bring us back to 10. We don't really want to do that, though.
Consisting of the nation of Nasatak, dozens of Amawa settlements, and hundreds of lawless, pirate-infested islands that stretch along the southern sea, Deadfire is home to boreal dwarves, Amawa, and a mixed variety of other races. Deadfire Archipelago is the last stop for anyone headed east. A multitude of monstrous sea creatures infest the ocean beyond, making travel virtually impossible.
It gets +1 to Dex. We don't really want that. This guy gets +1 to resolve. +1 to intellect. That was my dump stat, so I don't need that. No, it wasn't. Was it? My con was my dim. No, or two.
The Living Lands is the mountainous region of a large northern island renowned for its diversity of plant and animal life. Its weather is unpredictable and its ecosystems vary dramatically from valley to valley. The Living Lands are home to an assortment of races in a variety of colonial and independent settlements. A large, cracked southern expanse of polar ice, the White that wends is home to pale elves and small colonies of daring explorers, outcasts, and adventurers. While virtually no plant life grows in the White, it is home to many hardy species of dangerous animals that forage from the sea or prey upon each other to survive.
I do that, but we're gonna previous this real quick. Oh, I need points in intellect too? Oh no. Oh no. I only want 2 dump stats though. Oh yeah, we are gonna be from the White. Alright, this looks pretty good. This looks good. What am I missing? I don't need concentration. And do I really want con to be that low? Fine. Con is that low. Minus 10% to endurance, maybe not. There we go. We'll do that. Seems good. You know what? I am an Orlan, so we are going to lower this one and put it in perception. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. We don't want to get rid of that one. We'll get rid of this though. Let's see. Alright, that looks good. 15 might, 10 con, 14 dex, 17 perception, 14 intellect, and 8 resolve. Let's read what all of this does. Alright, might, 15. I said that. It does 15% damage and healing, plus fortitude.
Fortitude resists attacks on the internal physical systems of the character, e.g. poison, disease, etc. It is defined by the character's class, level, might, and constitution, but can also be influenced by other effects.
Nothing on endurance and health and fortitude. Plus 12 action speed and plus 8 reflex on my dex. Reflex. The reflex defense allows characters to dodge out of the way of physically harmful AoE attacks, explosions, bolt of lightning. It is defined by the character's class, level, dexterity, and perception, but may also be influenced by other effects. Perception. 21 plus 21 to endure, plus 7 to accuracy, and plus 14 to reflex. And intellect. Plus 24 to area of effect, plus 40 to duration, and plus 8 to will. I don't think I have an area of effect stuff. As maybe I do. Why do I want? I don't know why I want. Intellect for a rogue. I don't know, but let's see. Intellect represents a character's logic and reasoning capabilities. In interactions, it can be useful for deduction, sudden realizations, and problem solving. In combat, it contributes to the will defense and influences durations and area of effect for all abilities and talents. Okay. And I lose 6% con, minus 2 defection, and minus 4 will. With resolve, because I have it at negative. You're going to be the Whiteland Wens.
You've lived your life amongst the nobility.
Nope.
Your days have been marked by lavish meals and extravagant parties, your conversations peppered with talk of pedigree and bloodlines.
Plus 2 to lore for that.
You find the siren call of the horizon irresistible. You cannot help but wonder what lies beyond the next hill or wave, and you've built your life around finding out.
Plus 1 to lore and survival.
Your life has been spent in the study of your craft. You trained and prepared, hoping to hone your skills and ply your trade.
You get plus 1 to athletics and mechanics. That's actually might be a good one. Let's see what...
You've never been able to explain how the universe guides your path. Behind every task you undertake is a feeling of cosmic direction.
Cool. Plus 2 to lore. I think Aristocrat was plus 2 to lore too. Stealth and mechanics for a drifter.
You never quite fit in no matter where you go. Each new town is just a place to rest briefly before moving on to the next. You are more comfortable on the road, traveling the world.
Hunter.
You live for the thrill of the chase. Whether for glory or for sustenance, you have made your living taking the lives of wild creatures. You've traded goods from all over the world, pairing items with buyers of all kinds.
Alright, I think we're gonna go with a drifter or a laborer. We're gonna go with a drifter. What does the athletics do?
Adventuring is tiring work. In addition to the hazards of mortal combat, adventurers have walls to climb, rivers to cross, and pits to leap over. Once per encounter, characters with athletics can use the second wind ability to recover lost endurance.
A drifter. Now do my appearance. Those are the only two, really? I get 2 Orland pictures? That can't be right. Oh, wow. That's lame. Lame. Well, it's fine. That one looks noble. This one looks more raggedy. Find something that looks raggedy. Alright, that looks pretty good. And facial hair. I just want something kind of like that. And head. I don't think a head matters, but we're going to look. Oh, there's only two. You look more what I'm looking for. Primary colors are going to be red and blue. All right, so that's my appearance. Next, voices.
Ready when you are.
I've got this.
The better part of valor.
Well,
Watch and learn.
let's go. Shh. Ready when you are. I'll lead the way. You're mine. Quick and quiet. Ready when you are. I'll lead the way.
We're going to go with cocky. All right, that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be Tequila. Okay, so that's going to do it for the first part. Thank you guys. Love you guys. Enjoy the rest of the stream. Sorry that took so long, but there's a lot to go over in this game, and I really wanted to know about the different mechanics and stuff. So hopefully you'll be back for part